I'd like to spend a few minutes and talk about finding the way. This is the third perspective in a series associated with effective virtual collaboration, which is another perspective not quite done yet. The two that were done and posted previously were creating the future and dealing with reality. In this third segment, what it provides is um, an appreciation for context, and then an appreciation of the situation itself, and an approach to developing a systemic understanding, and then crafting a strategy and an implementation approach based upon that systemic understanding. So that rather than the typical way that we go about dealing with situations, in that here's the problem and here's the solution, and we sort of stop thinking about the implications after that, and we approach dealing with situations without the underlying understanding as to why the situation is the way it is, we typically end up sort of meddling in the situation. So that you've probably heard the comment that the majority of today's problems are the direct result of yesterday's solutions. The reason for that is because we don't have a real deep understanding of why the situation is the way it is, and the approaches that we take to deal with the situation are more half-baked than not, so that when we attempt to implement the approach to deal with the situation, we end up with a lot of unintended consequences, which more often than not make the situation worse, or simply create new problems that we or someone else has to deal with in the future. So this finding the way is an approach to developing a real systemic understanding of why the situation is the way it is. And once that's developed, you go ahead and evolve that systemic structure to cause the future to be the way that you want it to be, so that the approach to dealing with the situation is also systemic. Now, throughout these modules, there is a case study of a startup company who's having difficulty growing to continue to find people to manage the company as it continues to grow, because the product that it's offered to the market is very popular. And then this last piece is a case study in and of itself about a accounts receivable department that's having a lot of difficulty trying to manage its average accounts receivable period down to something that isn't costing them a fortune. So this is actually a live embedded map. For each element here, you can click on it. It will open. Most every one of them has a video that you can watch, and goes to links to get to the next piece, and a place to add comments to the discussion if you have thoughts about this as you work through it. And if you click in the background or press the tab key, the sidebar will close. So here we have a problem. There's a whole segment to read, and then you can watch the We Have a Problem video, which will go ahead and explain that piece further. And when you're done, you can simply go ahead and close it here and hit tab and go to the next piece. Each one of them is intended to start to the right of the label and just walk around the circle. Well, go from the label to the center and then walk the circle. So from the systemic understanding to understanding, interacting, and to the summary, and then you continue on to the next one. So I hope you find this of interest and utility, and I'll attempt to get the perspective on effective virtual collaboration, which is the umbrella over the three of these, done in the near-term future. The other two perspectives that I mentioned, creating the future and dealing with reality, are down here in the links under references, as well as effective virtual collaboration, which isn't quite done yet. So if you leave comments in the map itself, here in Network Magic Strategy, oops, sorry, that's the video, not comments. Oh, the comments are in the loop labels. If you leave comments in here or if you leave comments on the bottom of the page, they all end up in the same place, my mailbox. So, and I'll respond to them. So take care. I'll see you in another perspective soon. Bye.